she woke up and was like violently shivering and very pale.
The doctors were extremely worried and they were like, your blood pressure is so low. We can't get it up. We've tried everything. At that moment told me that I had sepsis.
Can you share what the initial signs were of that and how that escalated quickly?
Any sort of infection, and if it's not treated properly and timely, it can lead to sepsis. And I think that's the scary thing about having sepsis. It comes on so quick.
Tell me, it looks like it's been life-changing.
It has been life-changing, yeah.
I feel like it's been amazing doing it together.
We also launched the business 12 hours prior, like after launch, and I was dying in hospital, literally.
It was very, very scary.
How do you keep a balance from private life whilst being so open to your audience?
It's definitely a bit of a balancing act. And I think especially with private moments, what people see is the smallest little flash of my day.
Has your relationship changed as a result of being married?
I feel like
And Michael, this is exciting. We were just talking before we pressed record. Well, I didn't press record. It's not my studio. That it was fun to have both of you here.
Yeah,
Great
thanks.
to be here.
Thanks for having
And
us.
I don't even know why I was like, yeah, let's just do both. I don't know why. So make no
Do you want
pressure,
me to stay,
but
or
make
should
it good.
It's way more exciting having Michael here. It's a bit of a treat.
I feel like it's great. But also I feel like, you know, both of you obviously are amazing individuals, but recently being married and sharing a lot of the whole process of that on your socials and obviously a business together. And I was like, let's dive into all of that. I feel like that's a fun conversation.
We're very intertwined.
We are very intertwined.
The more I looked into it, the more I'm like, it's very, very intertwined.
Yeah.
Yes.
It works.
You better
That's
like
why.
each other
It's
a
somehow
lot.
worked.
We do.
So far. No issues yet.
Don't say yet. Makes me nervous.
Well, this is going to be interesting. So you recently got married.
Yes.
And you planned a destination wedding.
We did.
And that was fun to watch. But I imagine it wasn't like easy. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in organising your wedding in Corfu?
It's just a lot of admin, isn't it?
It's a lot of admin, but
lot.
Michael is the admin guy in the relationship, which is really good for me because I cannot stand admin at all.
I don't love admin. I just feel like
He just does it.
someone has to do it.
And I just don't do it. You know what? We were really lucky. We got married at the Goldee estate, and the owner of the Goldee estate was so amazing. We actually went there back last August and met her and actually became really good friends with her.
Aww.
And she ended up taking care of a lot of it. She got us in touch with all of the vendors and she just really simplified the whole process. So we were quite lucky. But yeah, like obviously there are things that make it a lot more challenging.
I can't imagine travelling with a wedding dress to begin with.
That was probably the worst part.
There's a full
Two wedding dresses.
You could do
Not one,
You could do a
two.
full podcast on the wedding dress
Right?
saga. Yeah, there was a lot of layers.
Yeah.
to
Literally.
getting the wedding dress there and back actually.
It was problematic. We actually kind of lucked out because my parents went first, so they took the first wedding dress. And then we had Michael's 2 suits and my second wedding dress. And I honestly don't know how we did it, but somehow we managed to get an extra seat. So the wedding dress had its own seat. It was wild.
Anna's parents, bless them, have a sort of slideshow of 30 photos of them carrying a 30 kilogram wedding dress
Oh
sort of
my
on the way
gosh.
to the airport, at the airport, on a number of different flights, in the lounge.
That's commitment.
I actually
They
felt
must love you.
bad. Yeah, they're real troopers.
I'm also
I felt
guessing
bad.
it was 30 kilos. Was it 30 kilos?
It felt like
it felt
50.
heavy. It felt heavy.
Wow.
But it was all worth it in the end.
Of course.
And then on the way back, we were like, we can't do this, and got a huge suitcase and put both
Shoved
the
it in.
dresses in. And we're like, they're going back with the first person heading back to Australia.
That's smart.
And that's what happened.
Well, because you went travelling after that.
We did.
Yeah.
You don't want to travel with 2 wedding dresses, and did you travel with the wedding dresses and the suits? No.
No, everything.
No.
So
Everything went
we
back.
were free. We were free without any additional baggage. which
Yeah.
is nice.
How good. How good. But then it all obviously went smoothly, or as smooth as it can.
Yeah.
And would you recommend that people plan a destination wedding?
1,000%.
Oh, there you go.
It was amazing. I think a lot of people don't really realize that I was born in the UK.
Right.
And so all of my family live in the UK. And so then for them to get to Australia would have been impossible. Probably most of them wouldn't have come to the wedding. And then Michael and I had been to Greece together and fallen in love with each other and with Greece there. And so also you're half Greek. Your mum's full Greek, speaks Greek. So
It helps when there's a Greek speaker in the house, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There was a lot of ties that led us to having a Greek wedding.
Yeah.
And also obviously like near your family in the UK was amazing.
Yeah, it just worked.
Amazing. Well, it looked beautiful. It looked incredible. We all lived vicariously through your Instagram. And I remember thinking, when's she actually going to post a picture? I need to see this.
I know. It was so hard because the wedding photographer was like, I'm going to try and get the pictures to you as quickly as possible. And then she kind of got 200 back to me. And then I was like, okay, let me go through them. And by that time we were doing our recovery the next day. Then we went on a boat trip and I was like, stress. I still haven't posted some things from being in Corfu, but just because it was just such a whirlwind. But I always say to people, I'm like, highly recommend getting married. Loved it.
Right.
Would do it again.
Yeah. Well, I went to Greece on my honeymoon. I got married here, but we went to Greece on our honeymoon and we got married in the dead middle of winter. And everyone kept saying, why are you getting married now? And I'm like, because see you later. We're out of here. I remember at the wedding just looking around thinking, look at all these suckers that are stuck back here and I get to go away. We went away for 3 months on our honeymoon. Yeah. It was a real time.
Bless.
And it would never happen again. But anyway, well, life and responsibilities. Maybe. I mean, maybe now.
You never know.
But yeah, look, I highly recommend. You've had a public journey from Love Island to now sharing personal milestones like your wedding and also on your podcast and on your socials. How do you keep a balance from private life whilst being so open to your audience?
Yeah.
I'm sure they don't keep everything.
No,
but they
don't.
think they do.
They definitely think they do.
Bless.
Yeah. Right now on social media, I'm currently in Bangkok, but that was 2 weeks ago. So sometimes things aren't as timely as people think they are. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a balancing act. And I think especially with private moments where they're meant to be, between you guys and you have to like quickly set up a camera, or you don't have to, but you kind of want to. And I kind of appreciate it also because I'm like, this is a great memory. But yeah, we definitely have boundaries in the relationship. And, I feel like what people see is it's the smallest little flash of my day. And it's the highs and the lows of what's really happening aren't there. And I think that's like everyone's, like it's a highlight reel.
I agree, but I still think that I've had this conversation with my mum not long ago. She said such and such, I don't know who we were talking about. Oh, they just live a perfect life. And I said, you really think that they live a perfect life, Mum?
Yeah, no.
I said, that's just like, it's not, it's real. What you're seeing is real, but it's like 10%.
Yeah. And you can't measure someone's happiness based on their social media. Obviously, I know a lot of people in the industry and a lot of the times people do look really happy and maybe they're not. So I think, I've always tried to focus on my own kind of race and focus on what I'm doing. I think the biggest killer of happiness is comparing yourself to other people because in some ways someone's life may look better and you're probably living a happier life. So just focusing on your happiness, I think, is really the key.
I know my husband sometimes says, do not post that to me. Do you ever say?
I stopped trying to say that. I actually stopped completely. I feel like at the start of our relationship, I would be overthinking everything and being like, how on earth are you putting that out there? Like, why? Like, please don't. And now I just actually don't really care at all.
Yeah,
in a way. I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like,
it's very funny.
It is what it is.
I think you just
I've
get
accepted
used to it.
Yeah, I've got used to it.
I think you get used to it. I know Someone asked me not long ago, did I get Daddy K's approval for posting something?
Yeah.
And I was like, I got approval when we got married. Like, he knows what I'm like. He knows. But actually, I actually do sometimes ask if it's a little bit like, and the kids especially, I'll ask the kids, do you mind if I share that? And sometimes they'll say no. And of course, I've got to respect that. But as for my husband, no. I'm just like, no, it's just part of it.
I think it's the things that you don't want people to share that people actually latch onto the most because they're the most real, potentially, as well.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
It's true.
I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I'm such an open book. I always have been. You know, I put myself out there on reality TV and I was kind of like, I don't care. Like, I'm just me. I'm going to be who I am.
But the thing, I think what you probably don't realise is because it is real and it's not a facade, it's easy to do that. And that's why it's something you can maintain where there are a lot of people pretending to be something that they're not.
Yeah.
That's hard. You can't maintain that for a long time.
You can't. That's true.
So I think that, people are like, oh, how do you do it? It's just part of who you are.
Yeah.
You're someone that shares anyway.
Yeah.
So, you get very, and also the community matters, right? I'm sure that your audience and community matter to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm so grateful for them every single day. They are the most supportive kind, this metaphorical best friend that I feel like are just, as soon as, if I'm even a little bit upset, they kind of come to my aid and it's like, wow, how lucky and grateful I am to have people who actually care. So, I always try to, give back to them. And
I had Liv White on the podcast a few weeks ago and we were talking about this because I had an autoresponder on my Instagram for something we were getting people to vote for.
Yeah.
But what it meant was that I didn't see any of the messages coming through. I had this moment of, did everyone leave? Like, where's everyone gone? Because on any given day, you have a lot of messages that come through and you interact with the same people. You end up, the same people keep asking questions and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did everyone go? Do they still love me? Like, am I still are we still friends? But I've also had people say things like, I was telling my husband, my friend Nat, and I'm like, we've actually never met. But that's cute that you're telling your husband, my friend Nat has said something on Instagram.
That's so cute.
It's so cute. I was like, oh, that's so cute. You probably don't realise the impact that you're having.
Yeah, I don't think I do. I recently got asked to be an ambassador for Sepsis Australia. And I think it was kind of a bit of a wake-up call of the impact that I have on people, because I kind of posted about the campaign that I did with them and the amount of messages that I got of people saying, thank you so much for doing this. My mum died of sepsis, my grandparent died of sepsis, or my child had it and they lost a leg, and all of these insane stories. I think it actually recently opened my eyes and I was like, wow, there's so many people that, doing a campaign like Sepsis, that Sepsis Australia did, and the Sepsis Challenge that they did, it can have such a positive impact. And it was just amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that, because you were unwell on and off, a lot more off than on than off, sorry, I should say.
Yeah.
And it started as a kidney infection.
A UTI.
Yeah. And turned into sepsis, and I imagine that was really scary. Can you share what the initial signs were of that and how that escalated quickly?
Yeah, so I had been suffering from chronic UTIs for, I think, 6 months prior. And they just kept coming back. And I was like, are the antibiotics not working fully? And it keeps coming back. I was just so confused. And at the time I was doing a live show in Sydney for my podcast. And I did a telehealth appointment, called them, was like, hey, can I get quick antibiotics because I'm leaving to Sydney? And then I started getting this pain in my side whilst I was over there. And I was like kind of pushing it to the back of my mind. And then Michael and I launched our business, Goldee Bee, and the pain was getting worse. I was still ignoring it. I kind of had this mentality of, I don't have time to be sick. I'm too busy. I'm going to take a couple of Panadol and I'll be fine and I'll deal with that later, which in hindsight is the most ridiculous thing ever, because none of us are too busy to be sick. It's just not a thing.
Right.
Our health is wealth and our health should be number one. And yeah, Michael was extremely worried.
I was going to say how that would have been scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty dark times there. Yeah. Well, especially, I know we're probably jumping around a bit with the story.
That's fine.
But she was getting sick. She went to hospital. They put her on antibiotics.
New antibiotics, yeah.
She was getting better. She seemed fine. We went home. We went to sleep. And then at maybe 2:00 in the morning, she woke up and was like violently shivering and very pale. She went to the bathroom. Her lips were going blue.
I was going blue, yeah.
And then we had a very, very scary drive to the hospital. And yeah, it was very, very scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an 8-minute drive from our house to the hospital. And I remember Michael driving, looking really concerned, and me obviously looking in the mirror and I'm going blue. Yeah. I was like, whoa, what's happening? And yeah, I honestly didn't think that I was going to make it to hospital in time. It was that serious. And yeah, like Michael said, I was shaking uncontrollably. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced. And I think that's the scary thing about having sepsis. It comes on so quick. It's also not an old person's disease or someone who has like pre-existing health conditions. It's anyone. It's anyone who can get an infection, whether that be a UTI, whether it be a cut on your leg, whether it be any sort of infection. We can all get an infection. And if it's not treated properly and timely, it can lead to sepsis, and it happens like in the flash, in the blink of an eye.
And so from that point then, you were obviously back in hospital.
Yeah. So they immediately checked me into hospital. I stayed the night. Michael stayed in the bed with me.
That was a good time.
Yeah, we were kind of
because it felt like she was at that point responding to the treatment. And
I was
then
in a safe place at least.
It felt kind of like, okay, she's responding, she's in hospital, she seems to be getting a bit better. And then I just, it was already 3 a.m, so we both slept in this hospital bed together. And then we woke up at 7 a.m, Anna seemed okay. And I was like, okay, things are taking a turn for the best. And then her parents, your mum came?
Yeah, you guys were switching in and out.
And then I went and did a bit of work at home. And then in the afternoon, it took a bit of a turn for the worst again. And it was a bit scary for another few days. But the hospital bed moment was quite nice, actually.
It was cute. Make the best out of a bad situation.
I'm sure it was amazing sleep too.
Hospital
beds are not a good time at the
very crammed.
But cute.
Yeah, it was nice. But obviously, I took a turn for the worst. And then the doctors were extremely worried, and they were like, your blood pressure is so low, we can't get it up. We've tried everything. So then they, at that moment, told me that I had sepsis and that they were moving me to the Alfred Hospital, to the infectious disease unit, because they didn't feel comfortable having me there, which I was like, why? This is a hospital. That's concerning. And I think at that point, they couldn't find the right antibiotics still. And they tried lots of different types. So then I spent 2 weeks at the Alfred, left, got discharged, went back again, because as soon as I left, I went right back to square one.
Wow.
And it was a bit of a journey. We also launched the business 12 hours prior, our business that we had spent 18 months working on. And I was like, what is this timing? We had this full marketing strategy for the 2 weeks after launch, and I was dying in hospital, literally. Insane.
Chaotic.
Crazy. But also, like you said, if you don't have your health, what do you have?
Exactly.
It takes something like that to really, I think, solidify that in our mind.
Absolutely.
And I think we all think we're superhuman until we figure out we're actually not.
Yeah.
No one's superhuman.
You've never been healthier now the last 12 months.
That's true.
It's been amazing.
Yeah,
Touch wood.
That is amazing.
To be fair, I was on constant antibiotics. I mean, I've been into your clinic numerous times with always a different problem. It was always UTIs, and I was always sick. And I think after getting sepsis, they put me on 6 weeks of long-term antibiotics, which I know is terrible for you. But since then, I have not been on any antibiotics, and it's been a year.
Amazing.
And for me, that's like, it's like a dream come true.
It is a dream
Right,
come true.
absolutely. But also, I think it's so now that you can kind of give back and represent something that's quite misunderstood. I think people and how serious and quickly that can happen too.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that the great thing about the campaign that we're kind of trying to get through to people is that it can happen to anyone. And if you're in hospital and you're really feeling unwell, you need to say to them, hey, I think I might have sepsis, and then they'll keep you in the hospital and they'll monitor you. And yeah, it could save your life.
I think it's important that we actually listen to our bodies too at that point in time.
100%.
Even when you're told that it's fine, maybe, I don't know, maybe you did think it was fine when you went home.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in my mind, I was like, well, I was on the wrong antibiotics. They've told me it's now a kidney infection. It's progressed, but now I'm on the right antibiotics. So I should just go home and get a good night's sleep.
Right.
Sleep is good for my health. And kind of like in my mind, I was like, yeah, this is the right decision. But I mean, in hindsight, I look back and I immediately go, if I like ever get a UTI again, I will get my urine tested.
Right.
Never will I ever in my life. And if anyone's listening and get UTIs, always get your urine tested.
I think
they
that
don't
should
know.
be for anything. Like even if you've got like a sore throat, have a swab. Like I think we're
Totally.
I think that it's important to actually get the why, what's actually happening.
Yeah.
But it's important to talk about. So I'm glad that you're able to talk about it. You know, you said that there were times where you weren't sure what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You felt like this could be it.
Yeah.
What was it that you did to stay mentally strong during those moments?
I think Michael was the best support system ever. Super positive, the most positive man on the planet. Yeah.
I wasn't feeling.
What
I
about
wasn't
you?
feeling positive on the inside. Yeah, I was just trying to make light of the situation, crack jokes, make it seem like everything would be okay. I wasn't sure about that myself, but I
mean,
I sort of thought, look, the least I can do is try to keep things positive and upbeat, and then just hope for the best. Because it was really just those few. It felt like maybe 2 extremely long days that were very sketchy, like not really sure what was happening. Then it was, after that, it kind of was just recovery. Do you feel the same? It was 2 really scary days.
2 really
I
bad
felt.
days. And then it was a little bit up and down through the recovery.
It was frustrating because you'd get a bit better and then get a bit worse.
Yeah.
But it was 2 days that it felt like they weren't able to stabilise.
Yeah, they couldn't stabilise
I was just
me.
pretending to be really positive.
I'm glad to know that now. I was like, this guy, not fazed by anything.
Yeah, I was cracking jokes. Yeah.
but often that can be just what you need.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Absolutely.
and also you're borrowed his belief that everything was going to be okay, which then fed into you going, oh, well, he thinks everything's going to be okay, even though you didn't know what he was thinking.
Yeah. And I think when you're in hospital, Michael would either be there or my parents would be there. So in visiting hours, I always had someone there. And I think just having the people who are familiar to you and close to you and I know it wasn't easy because I was in there for a while, but there was not a day that went past that someone wasn't with me. And I think that makes such a big difference to someone who's, you know, not doing well, I guess. I don't really know what
Absolutely. So you launched the business just before.
Yeah,
Let's
12
talk
hours.
about that.
Yeah.
How has that been doing that together, obviously? And I mean, tell me, it looks like it's been life-changing.
It has been life-changing, yeah.
I feel like it's been amazing doing it together.
Yeah.
If you have so much trust and respect for your business partner, the ridiculous amounts of trust and respect, you can go to really high heights.
I agree.
And I feel even when we're disagreeing on something from a business perspective, the repair of the disagreement can happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of fun to hash it out a bit. You know, we don't always 100% see eye to eye on everything from a business perspective.
Yeah.
But I actually find it quite fun debating and disagreeing on things when it comes to the business.
No,
But
it
yeah.
is. It's so much fun, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. But yeah, it's a natural tanning business. I think the reason why we chose we knew we wanted to do a business together. And when I was 19, I was like, I'm going to start a fake tanning company, because I was constantly fake tanned throughout my whole life. And I was like, I know every single product. I've tried every single product. If anyone can do this, I can do this. But I think when I was younger, I used to put really heavy, chemical heavy products on my skin. And I really wanted to change that around. So it's very natural, very hydrating. And I think it's made us really proud, because so many people message us and say, you have given me so much confidence. I used to wear layers and layers of makeup, and now I wear no makeup. I wake up and I feel amazing. Like, what better gift can you give someone than for them to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and go, wow, I look good. How
Absolutely.
amazing.
The response has been crazy. I think when you start, like, we knew we had a really good product.
Yeah.
Like, this product's amazing. And we'd sampled it on all our friends and family, and they all thought it was amazing. But you still never know what's going to happen. And then to look
you
back,
can't know until you launch.
To look
Yeah.
back on what we've accomplished in a year is crazy. Like, I think you need to almost pause for a second and think back to where you were each month, and you're like, wow, this just keeps going to new heights.
Yeah.
So it's been really exciting.
It's our
to do
first
it.
birthday.
It is our first
next
birthday.
year.
That's it.
I mean, next
Next
week.
week.
Next week,
Yes.
next year.
No, next year's second birthday.
birthday.
Yeah, next week.
That's
first
gone
birthday.
fast. But you
It's
spent
gone
the
fast.
first 2 months of it all. How long being unwell?
Yeah, first couple of months.
Yeah.
Just recovering.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had an amazing finish to that year.
Yeah. I think that, and it looks gorgeous too, by the way.
Thank you.
I think that's part of it as well, isn't it? Like,
It's very luxe.
it is very luxe.
Yeah.
Is there more products in the pipeline?
There is, yeah.
Exciting.
The thing is, it's so hard when you're such a perfectionist. The first product took us 18 months to approve. And so we have a lot of products in the works, but it's kind of like the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this process. Or I'm like, we need this fixed and that fixed. And yeah, we just want it to be perfect. So we're just waiting for the right
Well, I
time.
think also once you have a flagship product and it stand out,
Yeah.
you can keep
We
creating.
really want to feel like every product we release is a game changer,
Really?
and we confidently feel that our first product is, and
Yeah.
now we want to just keep
Yeah.
up that same level
Level.
for future products.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I know I kind of asked this, but obviously working together, there has to be some challenges.
It's really hard because, not hard, but like, I think Michael and I do very different things. And I think good business partners are doing different things in the business. I've had businesses that haven't launched. And when you have two people who are wanting to do the same thing and not other things, I think that's really problematic. Whereas Michael focuses more on the ads and, you know, a lot more behind the scenes, and I'm in charge of the marketing and campaigns. And so I think we really mesh really well together. Sure, yeah, we have. I mean,
Have
I
you
don't
had a
really-
I
doozy?
honestly wish-
Have you had a doozy argument over something as simple as
I
like
honestly-
the color of the bottle or something?
I wish we had a more interesting story here.
don't.
We really,
We used to fight more about the brand before it launched.
I think pre-launch.
Pre-launch, we were having actual arguments.
Are you both perfectionists?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're perfectionists in our
different
own
things.
area. So then I'm like, oh my God, you're killing it. Well done. And
I
then he's
just-
like, you're doing
yeah.
so well. So
I
it's
just
like,
think Anna's so capable on what she does in the business, and I think vice versa.
I feel that way about you,
So
yeah.
it's very rare that we're disagreeing on something, because we usually have trust. Whatever category it falls into, we trust the other person in that specific category
Yeah.
of the business.
I feel like we are a very strong team.
Maybe we should hash it out on the way home about something.
I mean, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot's happened when did you get married?
In May.
Yeah, right. So since tying the knot and launching the business was launched first, then you tied the knot.
Yeah.
Has your relationship changed as a result of being married?
No. I'm going to say no. What do you think?
Other than just more time spent doing.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's changed. It's got better.
I think it's got better. I think it's cool
I
to
think
be
it gets
married.
better every month.
Yeah.
I think it just keeps elevating.
Married life is cool, and I feel like
Why is it cool?
it's
Why is it
cool.
cooler than before?
Well, what do you think?
I prefer the word wife to fiance.
Yeah.
I think fiance sounds
Wifey.
a bit.
Yeah, wifey, husband.
Yeah.
Husband and wifey.
So terms.
It's kind of like you never know how it's going to feel going from boyfriend and girlfriend to being fiancés. But then once you're both fiancés, you're on this level with each other and you're like, oh my God, like we're moving together. We're on the same path. We're kind of going through life together. And then getting married, it's kind of like we're taking this journey together, and that's really fun and it's solid, and you know, we have each other's backs and we're both not going anywhere, and it's a commitment we've made to each other, and that's really cool. And I mean, to do it in front of our friends and family in Corfu was amazing, but to get back home, yeah, it still feels cool.
Yeah.
I think I just have a lot of pride to say that Anna's my wife.
Oh, that's lovely.
But I don't think outside of that anything's really changed that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a different, I don't know, because I've only ever been married and not ever been in a relationship where it was a long-term relationship without that.
Yeah.
But there's something different about the mentality and how there's that connection.
Yeah.
And it's also like you're stuck with me now, so sorry about that.
Do that.
Lucky me.
Quickly, I want to hear, before we finish, I just do want to ask about your honeymoon where you went on your own with that incredible, like, balloons in the back. That looked like something out of a fairy tale.
It was incredible.
Where were you?
We went to Turkey for our honeymoon. We kind of decided that we wanted to go somewhere that we both had never been. I don't know, there's just a really special feeling about going to a new country together, which we love. So we chose Turkey because it's close to Greece. And we went to Cappadocia, and they basically have all of these hot air balloons that go up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and they just surround you. There's just so many of them, and it's honestly, it has to go on everyone's bucket list. It was just incredible. And yeah, we loved it.
Yeah,
it
was
was
amazing.
amazing.
It looked incredible. It
Yeah.
looked like the scene from, what's the animation with that? It's like Rapunzel, but it's not Rapunzel. Anyway, the one with the...
Up?
No, not that. No, not Up.
In
The
Up,
one
he
with
goes
the-
up in a
It
balloon,
is
I know
Rapunzel,
that.
but it's the new version of Rapunzel. It's not called that. It's where her hair grows. Tangled.
Tangled.
It's called Tangled. Thanks. It's
love
like I'm
the
playing
sign language.
charades over here
Yeah,
now.
that's what it is.
Tangled. It looked like that. Where all the it looked incredible.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Turkey was great.
Yeah, it was great.
The only thing I will say is if anyone's planning on going to Turkey, the food was a little bit hit or miss.
Right.
But the experience was just so magical that it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
And then we went to Bodrum, Istanbul, and kind of saw Turkey, ticked it off the bucket list.
Amazing. Would you go back to Turkey again?
I think we'd go back to Istanbul.
I'd go back, but I'd also go back to Greece or Italy
We love
sooner.
Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like nowhere.
Yeah.
The
there's like
food
nowhere
as
else.
well.
Yeah.
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 It's not hit and miss in Greece.
It's
the
definitely-
food
It's
is
not.
not hit and miss.
It's hit and hit.
Yeah.
Here, yeah. But I'm also super glad we did something different for our
Yeah,
honeymoon.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Looked
we'll always
amazing.
just keep going back to Greece, Italy,
Yeah.
Spain.
I just don't think you could ever go to Greece enough.
I agree. 100% agree. I'm like, I told you before we started recording, I'm Googling like real estate in a tiny island. Like I'm ready. I'm like, this is actually a 5-year plan. We're out of here. Why are we are so far from everything.
We really are.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could absolutely launch Goldee Bee internationally, and that's a reason for you to be over there even.
Any excuse,
We
right?
would love to launch Goldee
I just
Bee.
put that out there for you guys. You're welcome.
We're
I
already
like it.
manifesting it. It's happening. UK, we're coming for you.
Well, you've had a big year. It's been
Yes.
amazing, and you're well again. And I
I'm
think
well.
we've established that we should celebrate that the most, actually.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited to see what happens in the next year. So thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on. This has been fun.
It's
Thanks
been
for
so
having
fun,
us.
and thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
You're amazing.
Hey there, it's Nat Kringoudis, host of the Wellness Collective podcast. I know how important it is to have a safe space for women's health, and that's why we created NK the Membership, an online sanctuary where you can access expert guidance and support right from home. Get early access to monthly masterclasses, unlimited access to our entire catalogue, and practical resources to achieve hormone harmony. Plus, enjoy a 20% discount on supplements and join my monthly live Q&A sessions. Join our community of like-minded women and wellness experts to revolutionise your health one topic at a time. Visit our website and sign up now. It's legit Netflix for hormones.